Hello, welcome to the year 2024. 15.
Oh my, that's what,
Yeah,
15 years
that is
of intense reality.
15 years of intense reality.
Here, yeah. Right
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely insane. So along with some special stuff that I think has probably been announced by now, I wanted to take a little bit of time and just kind of reflect on what got us here, right? So the idea today for this video is to listen back to our very first album that came out on May 6th, 2014, and just see wow, how far we've come. Just comments on the songs. It's been long enough that I can't speak for you. I haven't listened to a lot of these in a while.
It's been a while. It's been years for sure.
I was looking at High on Life and Another Day, and I was like, what are these songs? Like, I know one of them is the Sea songs, but I don't know which one. Well, like, I listened to some of them. Like, I mean, obviously the ones that were re-recorded, I still listen to. The End is a banger. Sometimes I listen to that.
Mhm.
Half of these songs probably haven't listened to them in like 8 years.
And then some of these, we used to look back at and groan, right? So I think part of the exploratory question today is were we what were we on to? You know what I mean? Can you see hints of our future work in that album and stuff like that? And
It's gonna be a nostalgia trip.
yeah,
basically is what I'm expecting.
yeah.
Down at fall, can't you see you are my archenemy? My downfall is coming around.
Oh, there was no.
Yeah.
What?
No.
We were missing out on that.
So, okay, yeah. That is so interesting because I can't stop thinking about the weird kind of piecemeal way that was all put together. Because we were trying to do that for Old Max Radio, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Max was like, oh, yeah, we'll put one of your songs on the radio. So we rushed to get, it was 2012 actually. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to rush something together. We're just going to do a 4-layer thing with the pocket recorder. But I can't figure out whatever happened to that original recording other than the drums and the bass. Because what I remember is the drums and the bass of that are from 2012, but then we redid our stuff the year that the album came out. Do you remember why we put that version of Archenemy out instead of the other ones?
Well, something was wrong with the other version. It got corrupted or something. Like memory crashed and we lost the files or something.
Mm-hmm. So there was a better. Well, there was a version of Archenemy that sounded more like the other tracks on this album, but yeah, we weren't given it, and then we're like, well, we can't not have Archenemy, so I guess we settled on this really weird.
Doing it ourselves.
Yeah, 2012 drums and bass with 2014 guitars and vocals on top of them. Then I don't even think they're in time with each other really that well.
I mean, even with the original Rich recording, if it wasn't lost and corrupted or whatever, they probably weren't in time with each other.
Which I like the song.
Honestly, it sounds not bad. When it first started, I was like, this is not too bad. Honestly, for what we were using at the time,
Yeah.
It's all right. There's definitely more oomph behind the vocals now.
Yeah. Vocals sound like I was kind of in a cupboard and I couldn't sing too loud or else someone would hear me or something.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, it was good back in the day, but now that there's a better version of it, and that's kind of true about all the songs. It's you didn't realize the things you didn't like until you have a better version of the song, and then now it's a little hard to listen to. But it is a good song though. It is a banger. And I mean, obviously I was pretty inspired by it because then I just cannibalized the vocal rhythm from the interlude into the guitar part at the end of Truth and Lies.
Yeah, you absolutely did. That's right.
Superhero song. Bam.
Yeah. Yeah. That was all Taylor. Taylor set the lyrical stage for that one. But it was such a cool, unique topic for the song too. So we've never really written anything else like that. So that's also pretty cool.
It's missing the right at the end of the intro.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
little things. It's what?
because we're so used to that, and we were doing that back then, weren't we? Like when we were
For a
playing it
long
live.
time. Like,
Yeah.
for
So
long.
the fact that that wasn't in that recording is actually kind of crazy.
Well, like the songs get recorded pretty early on in their existence, it seems. Some of them exist for a long time, but
Yeah. Like the nice thing about us going in 2021 and actually like giving a good
doing a way better version, yeah.
yeah. So then we actually do hear all those parts the way that we expect them and stuff like that. But listen to that and it's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I like that song. It was always fun to play that. Like people liked it.
Yeah. We still seem to like get a good response to that one. Like we don't really want to stop playing it, and I think that that's kind of is really helpful. Like it speaks volumes about that like that's one that like we don't seem to want to leave behind.
That was pretty cool though, just to see that all the little changes.
Yeah. 100%.
How could I give anyone all this potential is flowing through my veins? I promised myself that finally this time I'm making some my inspiration.
Oh, because I'll tell you something. So I wanted it to be like, I just want to be known, I just want to feel in, I don't want my expectations crushed. The chords, so take it with me, so second place. So I wanted those two lines to like go over top of each other.
Okay.
I don't know why they're not.
But this song was not supposed to have a name. That was like the
It's
whole
the
thing.
C song.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like,
Yeah.
I'd even like call it the C song. I want it to be like super edgy and be like, just like have like a blank space where a title would be. After I realized that that was not going to work on like iTunes and streaming services and stuff like that, then we settled on High on Life, even though that's a weird name.
Should have changed the lyrics to be about the ocean or something, and then calling it the sea song would be more clever.
Ah.
To me, right away, like I know that basically what happened with this song is that like Aaron came up with the bass riff, and I was like, "That's so cool!
It was a cool bass riff.
I'm gonna make an entire song around the entire bass riff, right?"
You barely ever hear a song where the bass is the star,
Yeah,
so that was a cool thing.
I think that's the thing that like this band has been pretty good with doing is making like having the bass be like a full-fledged instrument and stuff.
Mostly just remembering I get so fucking stressed at shows because I'm like, oh god, like it's like some weird song of like leading bass line, like can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
So I was so stressed when we played that song. Like, holy shit.
It's been a while since I've listened to this one. This is so just like Blink-182.
Yeah, I wrote down, I want to be a Blink-182 song.
Yeah, this song wants to be a Blink-182 song so bad. The other thing too that keeps standing out to me is like that whole thing of like I'm 15 and I'm gonna like take on the world and like there's so much like potential and like I'm gonna explore the world. It's very wordy too. It is like it's so wordy. It's a little up its own ass. It's not something
I mean,
that I would write these
it
days.
being up its own ass, I think, is highlighted by the outro, where like it ends and then it's like, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and then
Yeah.
it's got to do one more part.
Aaron and I had like a big squabble about the end of it.
Yeah,
Because I thought that it should end on the F chord and he thought it should end on the G chord.
The ending's wrong.
The ending is wrong. Okay.
The ending is wrong. We're getting into this.
And we went back and forth and then we would play it live and then,
F. What did we end it on?
well, here it ends on F. And then what Aaron would do sometimes is then he'd go G. And then if he did that live, and then I would be like, C.
Yeah, you might as well do C at that point.
Yeah, because I felt like if it was just G, it like felt like unresolved, kind of.
This is the thing in question, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you should do it instead of me doing acapella.
Yeah. Like that's how it ends, right? But
Which is wrong.
okay, cuz you want to go
Yeah, exactly. That's much nicer.
what if it was
Nope. Yep, that's the one. This is Michael and I's marital dispute. Like, we were going to be together forever, but because of this, I had to leave him. It's also why I retired from music.
single-handedly
Song.
because
It
of
was
the
very...
disparity over the end
Yeah.
of this song.
Honestly, I liked where it ended before this part came.
What did you write about this one?
I mean, like, it's like the same drum beat, the same drum beat, the same drum beat, the same chord progression, the same chord progression, you know, but it still works. Like, Like I said, it's like a Blink-182 song.
It is
It's
just
kind of a cool major guitar solo that I enjoyed.
it's nice that it at least has like good guitar work on it. Because if it didn't have
And
like
the
good
cool bass part, like doom 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 doom.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I like that.
yeah. So yeah, there's like structurally some stuff there. Definitely like is not even like representative of like us as a band or like the rest of the album. Really, it kind of just is like, what if I dove off a major key cliff? Okay, back to square one.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
How does it make you feel when all your fears are real? And shake out and win, shake out and win for something more.
So it's a good one to just bop along to. Some parts sound exactly like Green Day.
Beyond the fact that yes, like unfortunately this song is I hear other songs that I like when I listen back to it. I'm like that doesn't I don't think it passes the originality test. Unfortunately.
My dad showed this to some people at work, and they were like singing it to me. They knew it like by
Oh, yeah.
They knew it. Yeah, it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, see, that's the other thing though, is like I really am proud of this song. I'm proud of the lyrics of this song.
I didn't
and
recognize earlier on how sad the lyrics are.
I mean, and you know what it's about, but it's just yeah. The lyrics I thought were pretty good. They like talk about a situation pretty well. I think I like the structure of the whole thing, and the chorus is really catchy. But yeah, I don't think that it passed the originality test. But I thought like songwriting wise, it was pretty good.
See, I always felt like this song was pushing the limits of our abilities because the vast majority of songs in this album has one person starting off by themselves so that everybody else can be like, okay, gotta get into this. But then for this one, everybody starts at the same time. It's like, holy shit, there's no lead in. Gotta get this timing right.
There are some things with what we just listened to that are the result of like the person that we recorded it with. Like he had some influence in terms of like play this like just note like line over the beginning, right? Or put the acoustic guitar in and stuff like that.
Yeah, I liked the acoustic guitar in the recording. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot it was there. Like just because we never had it
I
live.
remember there's one part he liked doing just single notes instead of chords, but it sounds better with chords.
It does.
I guess there was a lot of like random extra backing shit that was added into. So I was thinking that when I listened to it today, I was like, I don't think that we always had that like extra little bit of vocals in the song when we did it live or anything like that. Part of it was us getting all excited about being able to record. So we're like, oh, we got to do everything so that the songs are super complex.
Mm-hmm.
People know we're talented. I remember having some debate about that.
If I can have like a little small plug, a few years ago, I re-recorded the album that Back to Square One comes from, along with re-recording Back to Square One, I think a little bit closer to like how we intended it. So like there is a better version of it floating around too than just this version.
I always like, kind of flip-flopped on this song like we were doing at shows because like sometimes like yeah I really like this song, other times I'm like we play this too slow, and sometimes it turns into the okay everybody's gonna leave the tent now.
Here's a fun fact too. So when we got the file, I felt like we had recorded it at like a really slow tempo. So
Oh, yeah.
I actually took it and I put like the whole finished file in Pro Tools and actually slightly sped it up.
Weird.
So if it feels like slow to you now, like it's actually like a little bit faster than the original one that we'd been given.
That's weird. Like, did it affect pitch? Like, did you?
No, there was some kind of tool that
Wow.
helped with the pitch and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the other way was like it was painful.
Yeah.
It was painful.
Do-do.
Da-na,
Do-do.
da-na, right? Like imagine.
Yeah, no, that's like
Yeah.
too long, man.
Yeah.
Well, I can't see why you have to be so far away from me.
Honestly, I remember this one making me feel inspired. I was like, wow, we can do some cool writing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that one's like very Rise Against to me, and like that makes sense because we were really listening to
Oh yeah.
a lot of that. I feel that way about Midnight Drive too. A lot of the subjects I had in the songs I was writing at the time were all kind of just about the same thing. But yeah, musically, like this one's kind of cool because I think this was getting kind of closer to that common ground between you and me and Aaron, and kind of what we were listening to. So I remember when I was writing it, I'm like, okay, this is actually a little bit more like minor key and stuff like that. The intro is funny because like I know that your intro was better than what we had originally recorded. So
So yeah, we changed it. But,
yeah.
And then we didn't use a metronome, which is like, well, we want this tapping intro instead of what the original picked intro, and I think we just did it freestyle and just tacked it on.
It was like, okay, there we go.
All right, whatever it is, we're rolling with it.
Yeah. I actually also on like a solo project re-recorded this song and got it like a little bit better. Although it would be missing like a couple guitar things that you did. Yeah, like this one, like, you know, I think was a decent song overall. I don't think it's the strongest one, but I think it was a decent one overall.
Yeah, like I liked what the drums were doing because there was actually some like dynamic things happening with the drums with like the verse that gave it some accents, and then into the punk beat for the chorus.
Yeah.
So that was cool too.
I really like when it switches into the verse on this song. Like, I remember like bopping to this like back in the day whenever we were like jamming in your parents' basement at Scenic Sands.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just got like a good like constant like oomph to it. Punch a couple babies in the face. I wouldn't say I like it enough to like, if we were going to like first drag my corpse out of retirement and then start re-recording more songs in this album, like I would consider it on the short list, but I don't know if it's like good enough to make the short list, you know?
Yeah. No, I
But,
feel that way. It's kind of on the cusp. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like on the top half of the album, but like still in the middle
Yeah.
in terms of ranking.
Yeah, that drum groove was you guys. Like, I didn't really know. Like, this was pretty early on for me. I wrote this in like 2010. I didn't really know how to, like, what I wanted the drums to sound like. I think I had less of a vision for it back then than like I do when I write songs now. So I think we must have just stumbled into that beat somehow because the song's mostly mine, but I don't remember being like, oh, and then play the drums this way.
Well, I think Dustin maybe came up with that, but like it fits the guitar well.
And then there's like the instrumental part, and then it kind of does like. I remember Tom was like, every time the band plays, do a little solo. So I'm like, that was just in the studio.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Why not? Let's just do that too. And then for a long time, it was like a running joke in the band to like, because it's like the full band and then just the drum fill, and then the full band, then another drum fill, and it's like, oh, you gotta do something crazy, and then the last one just do one single hit on the cymbal, just a ting. It was like just perfect. We just kept it. We just thought that was great.
I can't picture the song without it or whatever. What do you think now hearing those like extra fills tacked onto the da-na-na-na-na-na?
I don't know. They seem just kind of random and cheesy, and the guitar was hard to hear. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if this one was mixed better, like, I think it could like stand the test of time a little bit better too. But yeah,
Like it's got good bones.
it's got good bones. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, and we played this one quite a bit. Did we still do this one like when you were drumming, or did we not pick this one back up?
No. I don't think I ever drummed this one.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think this one survived that long. Like I think once we were in like the altered states era, I don't think All Along was still really in the rotation that frequently.
And it's tough too, like when you go like 10 years into the future and you like look back at it and it's like, you know, because some of them, the one we're about to talk about next, it was like, okay, we need to give this one like another chance. You know what I mean? Some of them though, like it's also like, well, we know that we've written a lot of better songs since. So some songs are like just to help the journey along the way.
You know, sometimes the technology isn't there.
Yeah.
or the performance or whatever. Something's not quite there, but.
Yeah. For us being 18 in our high school classroom, not bad.
We did good, I think, for what we had.
Yeah.
Get your struggles understood. I'm just saying, when does the bad outweigh the good?
You can still hear that metronome in like the main song.
fucking crazy.
I
the
fucking hate this version of the song so much. Like, this is my favorite song that I have ever been a part of. It's so good. And it's so hard to listen to this recording because of the goddamn metronome. Like, I don't know who the fuck thought that leaving metronome in a finished recording was a good idea, but adding artistic flair to it, god damn it, there's a reason why nobody has ever done this before. And I cannot fucking listen to this song. Like, even versions of it without the metronome, without hearing that fucking in my brain. So, like, thankfully I don't hear that with like the modern version of the song because it's just too good for that kind of shit anymore. But like, I really hated this recording because like, this is my favorite song and I couldn't even listen to it because it just pissed me off so much.
To me, it's like the strength of the song still shows, you know, like
Yeah, like I was gonna say, we didn't have to change like barely anything. Like
yeah,
the drums are the part that changed the most.
yeah, because we, as you probably have seen by now, brace yourself for the re-recorded version of this one because, like, oh man, for everything that you hear in there, our new version is like even better. It's like it gives me
It
chills.
is better.
When we listen to the new version, it like gives me chills.
Damn.
I'm like, holy shit, right? But this one, like, it still shows like how strong the song was in the first place. Like, I really like our overlapping vocals and stuff like that. I think like that's one of the strongest things that like I've seen in a song of ours. I think we were probably right at the time
It's pretty cool.
to like choose it as a lead single. We got this out in 2013 in that summer,
Right.
and then it was like our single, and then we didn't have any art, so we just used like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
impact font.
Yeah, just whatever. And then Slumland was looking for artwork of ours to promote our Slumland show, and they thought our name was Midnight Drive.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's why, because we just have this like artwork that just says Midnight.
That's not the last time that happened either.
Like, this song's so good that like people would think that the band's name was Midnight Drive, like not that infrequently. So I
Yeah.
think that's just a sign of like how good the song is.
One thing on this song is that like the vocals sound kind of weird because we were doubling the vocals, like especially on mine. Like I didn't notice for yours as much, but you probably noticed more on yours.
Every vocal track that we did, with like the main person that was recording us, was recorded and then recorded on top of, and then recorded on top of again, for like every single.
Yeah, those
Vocal
were
track.
all playing together. So every little difference you could hear something wasn't right. Especially in mine. It's like, I'm just you know, you can hear all the little like incorrections that are happening there, but
No, like yours are good there. Like they came out totally fine. Honestly, for me, it's like it's kind of just like the roboticness that can kind of like come out, or it just sounds like there's a weird filter or whatever.
I feel like that on the guitars because like I was using like an old modular pedal, like an old Zoom pedal
Yeah.
into just a solid state amp, and like yeah, it wasn't the greatest guitar sound either.
What do you remember about like doing the music video and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, we went into the pack and we did all this like filming of like me pretending I was drunk and like puking in the garbage and
Like-
like spotlight down.
Yeah,
all on the
yeah.
stage, and it looked all epic.
That's like cool stuff that Mr. Flyshacker let us do, was just go in and, you know,
Drama kids, that's why.
right? So we got all these like benefits for that reason. Like we had access to a lot of stuff that like we wouldn't normally have. But I mean, yeah, redoing it like for our compilation album, it just seemed like such a no-brainer because we knew that there was just like so much more that we could give this song, and like
Yeah,
we just knew that the recording could be better.
it's
And
gonna sound a lot better.
Obviously, like the greatest hits stuff is part of like the band's history, but really nothing off of there as is was good enough for me to feel confident behind like re-releasing and putting like back up on
yeah.
streaming. I was like, ugh, no, they're just not there. Really, Altered States you can, but greatest hits like wasn't even mastered like by anybody. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me personally, like when you guys had me come back and re-record some of those songs, like every other time I'd record something for the band, I was always like, I always wanted to like get like do all these extra little things, like doing more, so that it's like, oh, look at how good I am. But now now I'm old and I don't give a shit anymore. So then I'm just like, I don't need to do all this extra crap all the time. Like, so I'm actually at the stage now where it's like, I'm just gonna play the fucking song. Like, less is more. And so like there's less of that crap in the new versions, and I think that they're better for it.
And like really is like one of the absolute best like early songs of ours. So
Yeah, I wanted a recording that you can like actually turn up loud and be like, "This is good." Instead
Yeah.
of like, okay, that's loud enough. Let's leave it there. Like,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, it was fun. Like this is my favorite song, and so like doing that was so much fun. And like in a proper studio where like the person you're working with is super chill, you're not feeling like pressured to like just crank shit out in like half a take and then get out of there. Yeah, it was awesome.
Telling me grow up right, telling me to stop the fight.
I remember I wrote the lyrics for this one. This is kind of my like angsty. I'm 18.
Oh, did you?
now. I'm an adult now.
Oh, you did.
You're like, I don't know what to do with this, and I was like, I got some ideas. You added some stuff.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, I got some parts, but once again, I couldn't figure out everything, and you had to finish it.
Oh, okay.
You know, we were both younger people and not entirely as intelligent or as wise as we are now. At least that's a theory.
This one doesn't hold up.
This is not it, Chief. Like this song, it should be scrubbed from the internet, I think, because yeah, like when I was looking at the track list this morning, I was like, what the fuck is Another Day? Like, I don't remember this. And I listened to it, I'm like, I wish I could go back to who I was 30 seconds ago when I didn't know the existence of this song. It's kind of interesting because it shows like that kind of trade-off that we were dealing with at the time, where it's like we want to have enough songs to fill out an album, but not all of them were necessarily quality songs. But like, we didn't play this one at shows for that long.
No, maybe like a year, like maybe 2013, maybe 2014, like maybe 2 All Max Summers tops. Like,
Yeah,
we played
but
this
I
song.
think like the instant there was another song available to like take that spot on the set list, it was gone.
Like you could tell I was like so into it. I was like so stoked to be doing something like major key because I just like it. That always is feel good stuff to me. It was back then and it is now, but it's just a matter of like some of the bubblegummy stuff is like a bit overboard on like Another Day or High on Life. It's like too much. If I just compare it to like how we write now, I think Aaron came up with it actually.
Oh,
And then I was like, okay, here's some chords that kind of go with it or whatever.
I think you kind of started us off on this one too, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's why it sucks.
No.
Yeah, I remember why I liked it, but it's like, eh.
yeah, no, there's a, yeah.
Okay, I liked that one way more than I remembered.
Because I did that one guitar part once again, which is basically like most of the whole song. Mm-hmm. And that was inspired by the Avengers Soundgarden song.
Oh, okay.
Revised. I was like, this is such a cool thing. Like, I want to do something kind of similar.
I like the how the guitars all like come together for like the do new 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 like that part is pretty fun. But like this song had like potential. Like I think yeah, like the verse and like the chorus are pretty good. I think the guitar like for the intro is like a little weird, just with like the FX that are put on it. But you know, this one still it's got like decent bones in it too. I liked playing this one. I remember having fun doing this one at Old Max and things like that.
I think it's one of the first drop D songs.
Yeah.
Too. So sometimes I think like, oh, you know, maybe that is like almost like a little bit of a Break of Dawn precursor.
Like, it always had a good energy to it. Like, especially, I remember the solo at the end. I just remember having a lot of fun with that. Dude.
Yeah.
Just going crazy, whatever I felt like.
I can see what I was trying to do in the breakdown, but I think if we're like trying something like that now, we would structure that different and we would go back up to the last chorus better probably.
Yeah, like there's a few writing things that we definitely would do different now that we kind of overlooked at the time, I guess, that kind of dropped the potential of this song, but it does have a lot of potential still, I think.
It's like it's kind of like a weird breakdown, which like works and it doesn't work at the same time. But I think, if we were to like redo this song, like it wouldn't need like a major overhaul to be like good again. Other than just adding 10 years to like every time an age is referenced.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Which
just like tweaking some of the guitar parts a little bit. But I think it had a lot of potential, and it was like pretty good for its time. Like I like long breakdowns of songs where like everything like comes in and then it builds complexity, and like this had that, like not to the extent that like Midnight Drive does it, but still kind of like fit that vibe.
The bridge goes on a little long, and yeah, we could have wrote it a little better, but that's life.
That is life.
this one also doesn't show its age too well though, because it's like 16 I'm doing this, 17 I'm doing that, 18 I'm like this or whatever in those
Yeah.
choruses, which is kind of
28 is coming fast.
oh god. So I mean, this one dates itself really badly, and kind of just there's not really any way to redeem that, because like I was just doing this thing. It was kind of short-sighted at the time.
Everything I felt inside, it always gets denied. Watching all of spiral down.
You made a good call to cut down that intro. This is a good call.
I guess so.
Yeah. Because now I hear that one and I'm like, that's too long. So that was our second official like single. That's another one that had like a little bit of I think that was like a January 2014 kind of thing. Like we'd put that together in the RDC studio, and then we're like, we got to get something else out or whatever.
Yeah, I remember I did the drums on this one because our drummer didn't show up. Like he was supposed to come, right? Like
Yep.
he was supposed to be there, but
Yep. That is exactly what happened. You're right.
So I did the drums.
The drumming debut of Taylor Elliott.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was fun.
But then that's kind of why you wanted to do the drums again on
Yeah.
our new version.
Totally. That's why I was like, time to come back and do a better job.
But for our not drummer at the time, I do think you did a good job.
Well, he's the only one who can do the rabbit foot on the bass drum. Like I don't know how the hell he does that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's
it
got.
sounds good.
Oh yeah, he's got like a really specific way of doing it, and we
like
haven't.
4,000 kicks per second.
Honestly, I knew the song at least.
Yeah.
Because I wrote that whole song basically, except for the lyrics. You did all the lyrics.
Yeah, you made all the music, and then I put the words on your music.
Like, you were such a huge fan of the GarageBand demo that I did, and
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to recreate the vibe that original recording had. Like even with the new version,
Yeah.
there's just such a weird like robotic syncopation with the drums and the bass, because literally it was robotic. It was MIDI. So,
Yeah. It was Taylor that taught me how to make demos in GarageBand in the first place. I never
yeah, you can straight up connect your guitar to your computer, man.
And that blew my mind when I was 18. I was like, "What? I don't have to just like set down my like audio pocket recorder and then just like, you taught me how to like make a song sound like a full band on my own." And then that became like the entire basis for all of my solo music that's on like my own Bandcamp, was through the stuff you taught me.
Well, then you took recording studio technology too, like
Yeah.
when you recorded the song.
Yeah.
That gave you another layer on top of that to like
True. Yeah.
really know everything.
It was the fact that I was in that course that we were able to use the RDC studio to record Downward Spiral in the first place, because we didn't do that one in our high school. It wasn't written yet, maybe, or it wasn't ready. So that one we did. This one we did a little bit later, like a few months later than the rest of most of the stuff you hear on this album. This one was one of the last things to get done, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was like we were in college by this point for this one. First semester college. Do you remember doing the music video for this one?
Oh, barely. Running around by Bower Ponds, not Bower Ponds, Bower Mall
Yeah.
in Red Deer. And yeah.
Being chased after. We were big into chase scenes and stuff like that back then.
Well, there's action. There's
Yeah.
things happening.
It's, like,
People are
interesting.
going places.
Basically, I filmed everybody as we were recording our parts. That's one of my favorite things to do, is like get a video of someone's actual audio performance on an album just on video. So you can be like, wow, that's the moment that they played that riff that I hear on the album. Like that's the exact like millisecond it was laid down. I was just like so into that. So then like that way of doing Downward Spiral, did that again for Ringtone. The Ringtone music video was like the same kind of thing. Like that's the actual drum take. That's the actual bass take or whatever, right? Like the second that we did it. And then using like Final Cut Express filters and like wavy stuff, like whoa. Like I kind of like a visual style that I was going for when I was editing it too. So not bad. I kind of wish I had some of like the old visuals with the new audio. And like the fact that we got Aaron to come back and do his original bass parts on Downward Spiral, Midnight Drive, and Pieces was just like so special because I couldn't picture giving those songs like new life without him. Like I was gonna miss that down down that he does in the end. I would have missed that if he wasn't there.
I mean, the original song is like pretty good. Like like this one was always solid. Like building back up to go into the outro, like I really like that part too. But like this whole thing, like once you cut back like the infinity length intro, it's just pretty good song like all around. It's always kind of interesting because like every time we did this song, I always had this debate going into like the bass solo where I'm like, it's very simple, but then like if you do anything more than that, then it just kind of like loses the pacing.
Yeah.
And then I think it makes like it would make the solo like drag more. Re-recording it this time was fun because then now that I no longer care about doing fancy shit all the time, I'm just like, yep, that's the bass solo, that's what it needs to be, and I'm not worried about it.
It was just cool to hear him playing bass again. Like he plays
Yeah.
bass, like everybody plays their own way, right?
Yeah.
So just to have him do it again, it's like, yes, here
Yeah.
we are again. Like that was,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
It was so cool. Like certain ways, like it almost felt like he never left. You know what I mean? Just for those brief moments where we were kind of back doing it together. Really, 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 really special. And Downward Spiral was always one of my favorites. Like there was really nothing about it that I wanted to change in redoing it. I just wanted the way that it was to sound better. I love this song. I'm really happy that y'all get to hear a new version of it.
I'd say everything that is second thought. Learn to simply live with what I've got.
Still slaps.
Yeah, like I remember wanting to play that like just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like we need to play this song again because I listened to it and I was like, this is great.
Stranded is another one of those songs like sometimes I'm like, yeah, Stranded, and it like hits hard, and then other times I'm like, oh man, Stranded.
You just riff away on it just the whole time, and it's just like you do that cool lead guitar part at the start.
Yeah, I never know what to think about that because like
it's catchy.
it's so simple, but it is kind of catchy, and I never minded stuff like that, you know?
I guess it's your guitar for like the in between,
Like the
like after the chorus going back and it's like, ding.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I'm like, this is fun. Other times I'm like, this is kind of annoying.
Sometimes it like a riff like doesn't have to be like crazy complex, but there's something about it that has to work like rhythmically to be like ear catching. But do you remember the first like the original way that we wrote that song?
Oh yeah, we're like, let's do a 6-part song. We're like hanging out, and we're like sleepover weekend or something. It's like we got to do something awesome. We got to do something epic, multi-part song. How many parts?
6 parts.
Then we can call it
Sexology. So it had like crazy like instrumental sections like before it, but then every idea would like fade out into the next one, and there were like joke songs, the death metal section and stuff like that. But like kind of in the middle of it was Stranded. Like we wrote this as like a song to be part of, and then we're like, what are we doing? Like we need to be playing this with the band.
Yeah, like it was so catchy, and so we just needed to do it.
Yeah. And like the lyrics, I can't even remember them being like specifically about something, but I just also, once again, like I feel like, those lyrics hold up. Like I'm not,
Yeah, I
don't mind
like
too
them,
much.
like I kind of relate to the feeling of things going out of control.
Yeah. That feels like that kind of fits the, the whole intense reality thing.
Yeah, like
it's
going crazy.
We also did this one in the RDC studio later on because once again, I don't remember what happened to the other version of it that we recorded in our high school classroom. I don't know what happened to it, but we had to, redo like the Archenemy stuff. We had to do High on Life. We had to do this one. But by the time we had done this one, we had already had a crack at self-recording it for the original video. This one feels a little bit better recording-wise because it's like we'd kind of recorded it before and we kind of knew what we want a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I don't mind this. Like this recording sounds very like intentional. Like we knew what we wanted to do at each point.
Yeah.
And so that I think is really nice actually. I think this recording is actually maybe one of the better ones on this whole album.
No, like it's pretty good. Like I think it's a fair representation of how the song is supposed to sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think I'd change anything about the song these days because like that little dumb little lead line, it still feels too integral to it to like. So it's
it
just,
is.
yeah.
Like, I don't know how you would change.
Yeah, I don't know what
that
you
at all.
do there instead of that.
When I just listened to that, I was like, I could almost just show someone like that version of the song, just as is.
Yeah, it's not too bad, really.
Yeah.
There's another one where it's like, do a crazy guitar solo.
And then like Taylor's got that crazy ass solo at the end, which is fun because I feel like a lot of times you don't get to see like completely unchained Taylor Elliott God guitar or guitar God mode, I guess.
Yeah.
So like that was fun. Even like because the way that Taylor did things back in the day, he didn't have like a defined solo that he would do. He would just kind of like make shit up on the spot every single time. So you always get like a little bit of a different solo every single time, and then you'd be like, sometimes you'd be like, holy shit, like write that down. And other times you're like, can you do the thing that you did last time? He's like, I don't remember what I did last time. It's gone forever. You're like,
I think on this recording, I edited together 2 different solos of his, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I think he sent
that
me
would
some
make sense,
alternatives, and I just, like, weaved them together.
Yeah. Which, like, that whole... The fact that he just makes all that shit up on the spot is insane to me. Like, I could never do that. And, like, do it so well, like, so consistently, too.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
bravo.
He's awesome. Holy shit.
And another song with a breakdown. It's like, does every song have a breakdown
Yeah.
on this album? Like, I think they might.
They might. Although this one was cool because how many times do you hear a vocal and bass breakdown?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of unique.
Yeah.
Do you remember the video? Like, do you remember our video for it?
Yeah, we had our friends, and they were all acting like they had something wrong with their heads, and
Yeah.
there's all these crazy video effects and stuff.
Yeah. Aaron edited the video. I remember that.
That was funny. I remember making that video, and then when everybody was watching it at the end of like Comtech class, and Fly was like, "Well, you used every single filter in Final Cut to make this, hey?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I did.
And then it was like flashing lights, like stranded, intense reality, seizure warning.
Seizure warning.
Yeah. That was like us as like high school film students just going to the max.
I liked it. That was fun. Making that video was funny because it was an excuse for Griner to trash a classroom, and nobody got upset about it. I didn't like being in the videos. I like being the behind the camera guy a lot of times. But
You must have
I
loved the
remember
Wait video
recording in the pack for this though, and then my iconic like lay on the floor and hump a circle while doing bass was born. It's so funny because you look at some of the shots of that, like you can see in the background, like me just like lie down.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell is going on here? Isn't there like a top-down shot too of me like humping the circle?
Probably.
But we had like a different self-recorded version for that video. So, and then this one that you hear on the album was done like a couple years later. But on to the next song that didn't get the best studio version.
Arrows pierce my heart. Nothing's gonna change.
Shortest song on the album,
Yeah.
but a powerful punch.
Yeah. I like the song.
I have a like furious guitar part.
Yeah. Aaron and I wrote that for LA when we had to write poems.
I remember.
Yeah. So like
Mine was some fucking lame bullshit.
oh, you're saying like it's not like
You
that.
guys teamed up and wrote this cool song, and
I guess that kind of explains why the song's so short. Because like if you're writing a poem, you wouldn't write it the way you would do lyrics for a song.
Mhm.
Like if you were doing it to music.
Yeah, like nothing repeats. Like there's not really a chorus or a verse in this one. It kind of just goes.
But I think what it was is like we just had that and then we just shoehorned it into a song like after the fact.
Yeah,
I
you
think
did.
yeah, I think we just had it and then we're like, we're gonna put
which is cool. Like normally
we're
it's the other
artsy.
way.
Yeah.
You normally write the music and you kind of just like feel the words out. And you're like, I think this song's gonna be about this. But like, this time you're like, okay, we have to make these lyrics a song.
Yeah. So I was clearly listening to a lot of No Effects at the time. I was so about like punk and like skate punk and like fast punk and stuff like that. And like
Yeah.
the other guys not so much, right?
Not
so,
like me specifically. Like I did not listen to very much like hardcore punk or anything like that. Very much like classic rock, some basic metal, a little
Yeah.
bit more hardcore metal. But like,
But Aaron and Dustin didn't really either, honestly.
yeah, but Aaron was way more into it, I think.
Yeah,
Because
a bit
he was more into like the old Rise Against stuff.
There's a different song that we wrote around this time called Hear Me Now. That was another example of just like, it was just blisteringly fast punk like the whole time. But you guys didn't like it. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't the right move for us, you know, these days. I can kind of tell. But nothing's going to change. I think we got away, like, it's just shorter. It's just quicker. And then at some point we figured it complemented Stranded. to
Yeah.
just kind of have Stranded kind of just going, and then it's almost kind of like a weird kind of like coda to Stranded. Now the way that it's placed on the album.
I guess so. Yeah, that's a weird way of looking at it.
When we played at Old Max, like we would play them together too.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, they're kind of nice little 1-2 there if you think of it that way. But that's its own idea. It's just like
Yeah, it's just like a little firecracker of energy, and then it's over in like a minute, and like was like a minute 16 or
Yeah,
something
it's
like that.
very fast. Yeah, exactly.
that recording. Fun fact: nothing from that recording was from any studio. That one was entirely put together myself after the fact because we didn't get a version of it that we liked. So then it was like, ugh, okay. I just had like Dustin in the basement room and just to rip through the drums, and then we just like self-recorded everything.
Yep.
Another one of like we just didn't get the studio version, so we needed something.
That sure happens a lot with this album. It's very suspicious how frequently the recordings are fucked. I'm starting to think that not everything was above board with this.
So this album is like 70% studio, 30% not ish. It's kind of interesting.
That's why it's the greatest hits. Because
It is the greatest.
This, you got
Yeah.
a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that. So
Oh yeah, can we talk about that title?
Yeah, that was my brainchild.
It was.
I still stand by it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go backwards in technology as albums get better, then it would be like mixtape and then like demo.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like guitar underscore raw underscore MP4. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the irony of like the fact that it's called Greatest Hits only gets funnier over time.
Oh, yeah, I love it because it's so bad compared to everything else.
The other thing too was like basically when we recorded this, we were recording all the songs that we had.
yeah,
So there's almost not anything really to exclude from it by the time we were recording.
yeah.
So it's like this is just everything. You know what I mean?
It's all our greatest hits.
Yeah.
That's intense and it's real.
Something tells me that we'll be together till the end of time.
Like it's almost like better late than ever, but like
Better?
there's nothing really. Yeah, there's nothing really that needs to be like totally rewritten about it. Like, just needs to be done a little smoother.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that one was written originally for a stage play drama
Yeah.
thing we were doing. Like I said, we were drama kids.
Yeah, man.
So-
Drama, film, like we were so artsy.
It was a
and
musical,
quirky.
a musical stage play.
Yeah, we wrote like a fictitious, like this is like a fantastical retelling of like how we formed the band or
I
whatever.
think it was loosely inspired by like how Tenacious D had a movie.
Yeah, because we loved Tenacious D so much. I had a song like so it like us, you know, we're on like different spotlights across the stage, right? And one goes down and it's like it's me singing this song called Larger Than Life that I wrote like specifically for the play, and I'm just kind of singing it by myself. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have like a band partner? And then later on, like your character like goes and he's just like and then he's like going, you're like going to audition somewhere, and then the person tells you like, oh, okay, but it'd be cool if you were in a band. And then at some point you're playing the guitar, and then Set Free comes in, right? Wasn't it that like Set Free comes in and then you play that guitar part, and then like on a different part of the stage I start singing it or something like that, or like there was some weird
Yeah.
thing where we were like, oh my gosh, we complement each other.
Yeah, almost like a reference to the music video with Aerosmith and Run DMC doing Walk This Way, where they're both like
Oh yeah.
connected practice rooms, and
Yeah.
then they kind of like break down the wall between them and jam together.
I think there might have been one other song for that play, but I can't remember it. But Set Free was from that. And then we brought that to Aaron and Dustin, and we're like,
Here's a blues rock song. It's fucking cool. Just play it.
that riff is awesome, dude. That riff is incredible.
It was fun. That's kind of what started it all again.
Yeah.
Just wanted to do a cool riff.
The guitar and shit in this song is pretty good. Like the intro and like the build up and everything, like that's all pretty fun. Like
Yeah.
like so like this one had some groove to it, which is fun. Like I always enjoyed playing this one because it doesn't like drag on more than it like it does what it needs to do, and then the chorus fucks off. So
Yeah.
like some songs, and it's not necessarily tense reality songs, but just as like an overall thing, like choruses are like super long, or like the verse is super long, and you're like, let's go
Yeah.
get to the next thing. And I think this song does a pretty good job of like striking that balance of like nothing drags on for too long, and like kind of lets it keep that like kind of grooviness going.
So, like, people probably don't know this, but when it was recorded, the guy we recorded with took an extra line that I sang and he copied and pasted it to the end of each chorus. So there's like a line in the song that's not supposed to be there. And I can't listen to it without it kind of bugging me because it kind of just shows like we weren't really part of the process of like giving feedback. We kind of were just given something and we're like, okay, I guess that's it. And there wasn't really anything we could do
almost
about
like
it.
he considered himself a part of the band, being the engineer and producer and mixer guy. Like he had some creative liberties.
Yeah, and there were some ideas that were good, but there were some ideas that kind of went against what we intended.
Yeah.
And so this one's tough because like I like this song, but the recording like kind of kills it for
But I
me
mean-
only for that reason.
Yeah.
I think this song is the poster child of like extra shit getting added in when recording it, which, you know, that's what happens when you're not paying for it.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, just listen to it. Like that kind of stuff always, like whenever the recorded version of a song is any different than like how we played it live, it always like bothers me. And that's true. Like even with like all the re-record and stuff like that, like if anything changed, I'm always like, oh, change is bad. This is breaking my brain. I like there's a couple of rare occasions where like those changes are like for very good reasons and it actually improves the song. 99% of the time I'm just like, oh, this is wrong. Why did we do this? And yeah, that extra vocal nonsense is high up on the list of piss me off.
To a lot of people listening, it's just like normal.
Yeah, so people might just be like, "Oh, that's how they wrote the song." It's
Okay.
actually not, but you know, hey, if you dig this song in its current version, it's better than no version existing, I suppose. So better to have it out than not. I'm sure that's the conclusion that we came to back then. Is like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's better than
not that big of a deal.
it's not. It wasn't worth like cutting the whole song over.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, here you go, but like it did kind of go against what we were intending, and that's otherwise that recording is actually also another one that's like actually that's pretty solid
Not too bad.
overall, and I kind of miss that song every once in a while. We just had like some cool energetic ideas, and we had some really like unique riffs that, or you had some really unique riffs.
Well,
for
yeah,
sure.
ways of connecting them that were catchy.
Yeah.
And writing into these choruses, and you came up with lyric melodies. Like you did a lot of stuff, man.
It was cool.
I would do like one part, and it's like, yes, you've got the hook, and you like built the fishing rod, tied the knot, and strung the line, and then there you go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Lost, I don't know where I'll go without you.
So what do you think listening to that OG version of it?
I mean, it doesn't sound as full as the new version. It's definitely missing
Sponsored.
the big feeling of the new one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's still got the old feeling of like, just like we could do that at the time. You know, like proof that I could shred deadly back then too.
Like we wrote a lot of stuff together, like Archenemy Midnight Drive, or like you guys had me come with like Back to Square One or All Along. But Pieces to me is like pretty much the first like this is the Taylor Elliott song.
Yeah, like it
'Cause,
happened
like-
naturally at practice with the whole band. If
Yeah.
I remember, like
Yeah, but I basically didn't write any of that really. Like that's I always consider
Yeah.
that your song.
yeah, it was about a relationship going badly and just kind of feeling like hurt in the heart.
Aw. I mean, but what a topic, right? And what a universe. Like people
Relate up
can
all-
kind of get into that for sure.
We all been there.
Yeah. So that was like no, this is like your song. And then do you remember when we kind of came to the conclusion like no, like and then you're gonna do like the lead vocals in the chorus and stuff like that.
Yeah, you trying to get me to sing more. Thank you. It helps
Yeah.
because I don't know. Yeah, it helps to get that confidence.
If like they have like lyrics that like you know seem more personal to them or not something that like I feel like I connect with myself. Like in some newer examples of Intense Reality songs, I'm like, am I the best person to be actually conveying this message? You know, so sometimes it's like helps with like the authenticity of the song a little bit too. What do you remember of like when we played it live back at like Old Max and stuff like that?
Well, you know, it was generally the part of the set where people would go take a piss or go get some food or, you know.
I think this one stands out because it has this very consistent track record of chasing people away. And like all the other songs, you know, like sometimes people don't like them, sometimes people do, and like you just gotta play them, figure it out. But it's like Pieces is like guaranteed to clean out that tent.
Yeah.
Like 95% of people, like basically if you weren't like our parents or our girlfriends, you were leaving that tent within 30 seconds of pieces starting.
Do you think it was that they just didn't like metal, pretty much? Like
Either
that?
they didn't like metal or they didn't like it the way we were doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So we had
Or
like
they were just outside of the tent because it was so loud.
maybe. I think we didn't think that the reaction to it was that great initially.
No, I mean it's not a song that you want to play to kids.
Yeah.
We were playing it at a family campground, and we're wondering why everybody's leaving.
I suppose if you like actually critically think about it that way, it's like, yeah, okay.
And it was so predictable, and every time we're just like, it's on the set list. We can't deviate from it. The set list is written in stone.
The set list
it is
is
an immovable
God.
object.
That sounds like
Yeah.
some me shit too, because like we would plan stuff out, and like I was always very bad at doing stuff on the fly or whatever. You know, like we'd like plan something and we rehearse it a
yeah.
certain way, and then but you know, like yeah, there's probably times where you know we could have maybe made better decisions on the fly, but I feel like maybe it was just me, but like I feel like I was always like really leading the charge of like I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, like we're doing this thing our way, yada yada, right? So I feel like I have never taken audience feedback about anything basically ever.
Yeah. And I always just wanted to like stuff that tent because mostly just because of that very first show we ever did when we had like I don't know like 300 people, like that tent was stuffed and there was like a huge crowd outside, and that was our first show ever, and I'm like holy shit, like this whole music thing is pretty easy, hey?
Yeah.
And that was like our largest audience ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it very rarely
Oh.
filled out that much, but I think it was because like it was so novel too. Like they had next to nothing in that tent prior to us.
Yeah, well, it was novel, it was perfect weather, and like everything just kind of combined into like the perfect conditions for it. But because of that, I was always chasing that high, which is why I was always more of like, we got to play songs that are like that people are gonna like, because like I'll like it's way more fun playing when you've got like 300 people watching you than like 4.
Maybe we were just too worried about time or something like that. Maybe it's like, oh, but if we don't play pieces, we're gonna
Yeah.
be 5 minutes short or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, because we just too lazy to learn a new cover, or because we didn't want to like keep throwing in a bunch of cover songs. So it's like we need original music in here too, and
Yeah.
there wasn't like I don't think there was like a good candidate to replace it. And so there's a lot of factors, but
Yeah.
it still gives like the OG pieces a bit of a stain.
Yeah.
But in the right, like if you're at like a grungy bar or something, you're doing like a metal show, then like fuck yeah, let's do this song.
When we were starting to do more shows in like bars and more adult venues, that's when I wanted to start bringing it back. Because
Yeah.
this has some more like relatable stuff now.
Because we didn't play it like at Slumland or in those Calgary shows with
and
Aaron.
That's because we were playing it still at that campground. We're like, oh, people don't like it. It's not a good song.
It's like the reaction of it at the campground like colored our opinion of it like way after
Yeah.
the fact when we were in different
And
settings.
we had other new songs that we want to play all the new songs that we had too.
Yeah, we were pretty on like Altered States, like Break of Dawn and all that stuff by that point.
Yeah.
We didn't bring it to those shows. I think that's exactly why, is we soured on it because we're like, people hate this song.
But it might have actually
like
done
those
better
shows-
there, you know?
Yeah, like those non-old Mac shows, like we took pretty seriously. We're like, okay, like what are the songs that like people respond the best to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so because like we were just playing pieces for the wrong audience, and then also I think part of it was because it was so much slower back then too. Like I like the song, but those show experiences always like tainted a little bit for me.
What do you remember about like us starting to play pieces again these days?
I remember it just coming back, like trying to have that heavy song to kind of round out the set.
Didn't Colton like it?
And he liked it too.
Yeah.
He went and listened to our old songs and he's like, why aren't we playing this? And I was
Yeah.
like, we should be. Like, we're going to play this. Like, you and I are going to play this and Michael's going to, he's going to play it. He's got to play it.
Yeah. It's funny because I think in like 2019 when we were training Colton for the band, this was one of the last ones that I thought we would actually bring back. But then it was you guys being really stoked on it that like really kind of changed my mind about it, because I think I was with Aaron for a long time on like, yeah, this one's not that good, like whatever, you know. And I think originally on the original course of things before Colton, I probably would have been
It's not like
in line
it's
to
a
just
great,
forget it.
great song, but I mean, like it's good enough that I like playing it.
It stood out, and then it felt like when we started playing it with Colton, it was
Definitely
like
brought
there's
new energy.
yeah, exactly. Like there's like a oh wow, like holy crap. So we ended up like playing this live a couple years ago, and by that point it was like first time live since like 2014, and we're like, what? Whoa, holy crap.
It is like a pretty good difference
Oh
in
yeah.
energy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's Colton.
And then by the time it come time to decide like, you know, how much of like how we wanted to approach the compilation album, which is like celebrating a pretty huge milestone. It's like 15 years of the band, but also pretty much 10 years of this album. It's like, well, man, like we got to redo, like, you know, we got to put a new coat of paint on like a couple of them and kind of show that respect to them. And then I was surprised that like it was Pieces that was another one that made the cut.
I was thinking like, you know, Archenemy, Midnight Drive, yada yada, right? I did not think that Pieces was gonna get this weird like second life that it did.
So yeah, we redid Pieces. We got like the intro sounding like the way that it was always supposed to, because that little, and then it just kind of falls off on the original recording.
That song is easy for bass because you don't have to really do all that much other than just like hit the strings really hard.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because you, when we did that practice in like early December, late November or something, just to like catch up to like get caught up to the modern version of the songs. Then you're like, oh yeah, like Taylor and I added this new thing in the choruses so that we don't have to just play like the same two chords over and over. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like if you listen to old recordings, like I basically was doing like not that exact thing, but like a very similar thing in the choruses, like from day one.
Oh,
Because it's bass, you can't really hear it. And so when you told me that, like I never said anything at the time, but I was like, this is basically what I was doing already.
oh, I didn't know that.
Like when we're doing shows and stuff, it's like you're not really paying attention to what the other guys are doing unless like something sounds like super wrong. And so I think it's just kind of funny that like collectively you just never noticed, because like I didn't really realize that you guys weren't doing anything except the same two chords over and over, and you guys never noticed that I was not doing that.
Well, I had no excuse at the time because I didn't even sing during that part of the song. So I had actually no excuse. Taylor was playing like an actual cool riff and singing at the same time, and I was sitting there just...
And then this song like goes into like a really tasty solo at the end too.
Yeah.
And I always like how Taylor does his guitar is like coming out of the solo like the
Yeah.
like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I really like that part. Like it's definitely like of all the songs on the album that would have gotten resurrected, like it's a bit of a surprise that it was Pieces, but like I'm not upset about it. Like I think that it's a good song, and like the new version of it is really good.
It's pretty good recording compared to some of the other ones on this, but it still needed to be redone
Yeah.
with all the power we could bring to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's one you wanted to, like, I personally wanted to turn up a little bit more. So
Yeah.
now we can.
Yeah. Oh, his solo on the new recording is just mind melting. It's so
It's
good.
almost the same as the old one. I tried to follow a lot of the same cues, but there's obviously some differences. But
Yeah. No, the new one, it's like just a huge wall of sound. Like it sounds huge, and like that's so cool.
But yeah, I think it just kind of got like it got a worse rep than it deserved
Yeah.
because of that.
What a redemption arc for the song Pieces by Intense Reality.
Oh, I know.
Warms my heart. Okay, yeah. We're sorry, Pieces. We're sorry.
Oh wait, what?
What the fuck?
Wait, it's not doing that for me. Is it only for you? Bro.
Okay, what the
Zuckerberg
fuck is
does it
that?
again.
All that we've become was it temporary?
another, like, hidden gem, a satisfying end, a salute.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and, like, just lyrically and stuff, like, it really captures, I think, the ending of high school really well, and
Yeah.
cool song.
I think
like this
if there was one more off this album that we would have re-recorded, I would have probably voted for this one.
Of all the songs I thought was gonna get pulled out of the closet and dusted off, I always thought it was gonna be the end, because like this is like if we were gonna do another song and like touch it up, like this would be the song that I want to do because I really like this one. And it was like a good one to end all the shows out too.
Yeah.
It kind of like it's got like the right kind of energy and has like a good build up and everything to like everything like gets really simple and quiet for a little bit before like it all comes back and gives you like one last little push to end out the show. So It was like an encore built into a single song because we had to do it that way since nobody would ever give us an encore.
It's a really good song that I think people would enjoy still. Like,
Yeah.
with like, I really like the outro too, and just like it has one of the better breakdowns of the whole album too.
Yeah, out of all the breakdowns that
Of
the
all
album has.
breakdowns
Of all the
every
breakdowns.
song.
Bassline's fun, drums are good, guitars are good. Yeah, like I don't know if we were gonna redo it, like I just think it would get like little touch-ups, but I don't really think that the song would really change all that much.
Yeah, I almost wouldn't change this one at all. This is a strong song, and I miss this song. And I think maybe if Pieces didn't get its like second resurgence, then we probably would have done this one. Honestly, like we're very close.
I think Pieces bumped this one off.
Yeah.
Getting resurrected. But we wrote this together, didn't we? Like, there was this. This is one of the ones where like somebody just did like a riff and then other people just like picked up on it and it just like kind of formed during a band practice. Those are my favorite songs when like they just kind of form organically like that. And I think those songs always tend to be better.
Yeah, the lyrics, like, wow. Like, I definitely put some feeling into that.
Mm-hmm. You can feel it. Like, I always like hitting the chorus because it just feels good.
Yeah. A Intense Reality lore fun fact is that each closing song on like our first 3 albums felt like it addressed this fear over like the end of the band in some way or whatever. So this one, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm like so nervous about like us like leaving high school and stuff like that. And then Altered States, like at the end of Truth and Lies, you know, like the I hope this never ends, you know, I always took that to have like a bit of a double meaning, even though I know that Aaron wrote the rest of that song about something else. And then Is It Worth It, when like by that point Aaron was about to leave the band as well, and like I'll stay near till the last spark is gone and stuff like that. So this is like the first in a trend of like each closing song kind of having some meaning to me, of like being like, oh, you know what I mean? Like kind of just hits me in the heart in kind of like a different way or whatever.
Like it hit that right vibe, like for that stage in life. Like you said, like, yeah, it was about like what's going on with the band, but I think it also just like that whole phase of like moving out of your hometown and then realizing that you don't know how to do laundry when you're living on your own for the first time and like all sorts of shit like that. I think it just did a good job of like capturing that vibe.
We had like an awesome live version of this that we got that sounded almost as good as that studio recording. Although this one, I don't have as many gripes with the way that this one was recorded. Just the multi-tracked vocal, a little bit
robot voice,
but not too bad. Like, you know, and then maybe that's why, like, maybe if this one was more messed up, it would have like been a higher priority to re-record. But, you know, the other thing too is like, you know, just for posterity, sometimes it's okay that some of these are like their original versions, because it does show kind of where we were at the time.
Yeah, no, it's a time capsule. Like,
yeah. So that is Greatest Hits. I have a couple like just overall questions that I was gonna like pose to you for kind of just like the whole album as like a whole.
Yeah.
So if you think about like Greatest Hits, like you're someone that's listening to us, and then you put that in your car and you like listen to the whole thing. So like what do you think are like the highlights of Greatest Hits? If you sit down
to pick, like you think every song could basically be it, you know? Definitely the end, because it's the most fresh in my mind, is sticking out.
Yeah.
All Along always sticks out in my head.
Cool.
I think like Stranded and Better Late Than Never do too.
Yeah.
And Back to Square One. For sure. And High on Life too.
I appreciate
There's a lot of them.
I appreciate that you like those songs as much, because I never was sure if like those were landing, you know, or if that was just me, you know?
No, you were just distracted, I guess, and didn't notice that we were into him.
Yeah.
No, and obviously Archenemy came on this album too.
Yeah. To me, like Archenemy, Midnight Drive, like are such big, like intense reality songs. Like, and it's nice to have something that's that old that it still feels like, no, like I want that today. You know what I mean? Like other ones, not so much, but like those ones, especially, I'm like, wow, holy crap. Like we were really onto something like that back then.
It is pretty cool, like having that song come together every time that we play it and stuff. And I think people enjoy it and think that it's a special thing. So
Better Late Than Never and Set Free, I like them more than I remembered.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones that I think I'm just more critical of myself as like a songwriter, you know, weighing it against like the standard of like what I make now and what I tend to like now.
I think it gave us a good goal to work towards, and that was like really motivating for us at the time. because, you know, like we had like that consistent routine of like doing shows at Old Max. But it like gave us something to push towards, like, hey, like we got to like make some songs, like some good songs, and actually like practice them so that they're really tight at the time. And so I think that was really good for like the development of the band, because that kind of like pushed us from like a bunch of dudes who like to jam and get paid more money than they have any right to be paid, just because you have that awesome connection at Old Max, to you know, something that's becoming like a real band. So I think it was really good for that. Archenemy, Midnight Drive, Downward Spiral, Pieces as a dark horse candidate, and then the end. Those would be like my top 5. At number 6, maybe Set Free.
Yeah, there's nothing that's like makes me want to turn it off or whatever. I think like every album that came after this one was better, but this one still had like a cool like kind of starting foundation.
You've got all these different songs that are all good songs in their unique way, and
You have some rockers,
they are unique.
you have like Pieces, which is kind of more that metal territory. You have some stuff that's very pop punk or whatever. This one didn't really have like an acoustic song per se, but it still had some like variety.
It didn't need it.
Didn't need it.
Every song had a breakdown except for two.
Yeah, you just hear the good guitar and the breakdown. What surprised you listening back to it? Like anything like you're like, oh, I haven't listened to that in a while. Like that kind of surprised me.
Most of it was pretty much like what I expected. How enjoyable it still is for me. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like the sound quality is like, you know, never is like, they sound better in your mind than they do on the recording. And I always felt that way about like shows too. Like you listen to like us playing shows, I'm always like, man, I thought we were awesome, but then I'm like listening to this and I'm like, oh, there's like some audible mistakes and things like that. I'm like, that didn't happen, did it? And you've got this like concrete evidence of it happening. Like, la 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 la.
allowing it to like have some room on its own, and then coming back and being like fresh, and just appreciating it for like what it is, and like the underlying structures of the songs and stuff.
To like be like, oh yeah, like I'm still as into it as I was back then or whatever. So that's kind of cool. If we were to like, let's pretend it was like, you know, 2013, 2014 again, and we were like, but we kind of know what we know now. Like, let's pretend we had this group of songs like currently ready and we were about to go in and to record it. Like, what are some things you'd change?
Mostly the better late than never.
Yeah.
And just production wise, just the quality of things that we're using, just the quality of the performance, and, you know, just adding in as many like accents and kind of cues for each other, and just like doing it as applying all the knowledge that we have now. Like, really just
hindsight, you know,
taking everything to the nth degree almost, and kind of looking at each track and being like, how can this shine better? How can this shine better?
Take out the fancy shit and basically every single edit that was made without consultation. Kill the fucking metronome. Really thinking about when like having the extra fancy shit in the song benefits the song, and when it's just like starting to become like a distraction or like a bunch of extra noise in the background where it starts to like take away from what other people are doing. Because I think like there's a lot of conflicting moments, like not like big chunks of songs, but like, you know, like little gaps going from like the chorus back into the verse, or like things like that, where it's like everybody's trying to do like their own thing to stand out, and then that means that they don't mesh that well together. So it must just be like little cleanup things like that.
Taking out some lyrics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because even the new version of Pieces has like a slight lyrical change.
Yeah, in the chorus, and that just reflects more how I feel now about relationships going bad.
Yeah, there's some that like if we were to do them today, I would do them maybe musically, but with like entirely different lyrics.
Yeah.
Like if I look at like Another Day or High on Life, I'd probably do them with like, I'd probably like rewrite all the lyrics. Maybe. But overall, like surprised at like some of the strengths of it for sure.
Yeah, like just being comfortable with like what the song is supposed to be, because not every song needs to be like this huge demonstration of like the entire range of skills that like people have.
Well, thank you for coming on and doing this, man.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, the nice thing is that our new versions of Midnight Drive and Downward Spiral and Pieces are coming soon, so we hope that y'all enjoy those. This is the first of the kind of the look back videos or whatever. So we hope you dug that trip down memory lane. And if you're ever looking for some kind of some commentary and some reflections on kind of what we think of this stuff these days, here is that. Stay tuned for when our 15 years of Intense Reality album drops. It's just a big ol' kind of compilation of like highlights from us throughout the years with a new song tacked on as well. So yeah,
I like it.
and then come catch us at a show and come rock out.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll melt your faces for you.
We will melt your faces. Okay, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.